Hello, this is Susan Bagyura. I'm an executive leadership coach, and I started a little series yesterday taking things from Dale Carnegie's The Golden Book. The first one says, the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Now that is really incredible advice. I know times in my life, and I also know people in my life, that whenever they could have an argument, boom, they were right in there. They were almost spoiling for the fight. They couldn't wait to look for the first thing that they could be arguing about. But if you want to be a friendlier person, and you also want to win people to your way of thinking, stop, avoid arguments. Next, number 11, he says, show respect for the other person's opinion. Never tell a person he or she is wrong. I mean, that's really true. When you think about it, whenever you're having a conversation with someone and someone says to you, you're wrong, doesn't that automatically set something up inside you that, you don't like it and you want to come against that person, and again, now we're into an argument, that type of thing? Where instead, if someone validates you and says, well, that's interesting, here's what I think about it, or that's an interesting point, I hadn't looked at it that way, here's how I look at it, and then they say that. Now that's completely different, and that's friendly. Then you can carry on and have a conversation, and you can remain open then, because someone hasn't come in and shut or cut the conversation off. So if you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. This is so true. I don't know why it is, but somewhere along the line, somehow it's been conveyed to us that we have to hide it if we're wrong. But don't you really appreciate it when someone steps forward and says, I made a mistake? I mean, who wants to attack the person that says, I made a mistake? It's the people that hide the mistakes that they've made or whatever that can be challenging. But for someone to come up and admit that they've made a mistake, well, that's great. Let's work from there. Let's take it there. So be responsible for what you've done. And if you made a mistake, then admit it and move on from there. Number 13, begin in a friendly way. And this is so true. And I can tell you there's been times when I really had it wrong, and I came in with a head of steam, and then I really had a hard time backing off from that. But if I started in a friendly way, and then I found out in the end that actually the way that I was looking at my perception of something was not the way that others saw it, I had movement. I didn't, everything was fine with the relationship, so it was easy then to move one way or the other or to take the next step. But no matter what it is, when someone begins in a friendly way, they've got the better start, and that sets the right tone. It kind of reminds me, just recently, one of my neighbors hit my car, parked outside. Of course, that's where you park cars. And they hit the car, and I thought, gosh, now this is the third time this person would hit my car. And I thought, now that's it. And so I said to my husband, now you have to do something about this. I'm living in Vienna. He's the fluent German speaker, and it's easier if everything's done in German. So anyway, my husband calls the fella, and the fella, as it turns out, is outside. And so my husband calls me up and says he wants to speak to you. He wants you to show him where everything is, so go down there. I went down, and I showed the damage to him on the car. And he told me no, it couldn't possibly be by his car. And so what he decided to do was back the car out of the space next to mine. And then he was going to pull his car up by mine to prove that his car couldn't have hit my car where he hit it. Well, as he did that, he ended up hitting my car again. He ran into the car again. Now, some people might have just pulled a fit right then and kind of went crazy or whatever. But no, I just In fact, his son was standing on the sidewalk next to me. I looked over at his son looked at me, and then he goes, "Papa!" I mean, what else could you say? And then, of course, the fellow jumps out of the car and immediately went into the next step. He was no longer in denial that he hit my car. But what I wanted to say is things were in a friendly way, and so we could just move on from there, and things have been sorted. And it was all done in a very friendly manner. Number 14, get the other person saying yes, yes, immediately. Yeah, look for areas where you can be in agreement with people. Be agreeable with people and get people saying yes. And certainly when you do that, people will come around to your way of thinking. Number 15, let the other person do a great deal of talking. This is always important. Let others talk. Ask them questions and listen to what they say. And when they say something, ask questions. Get more clarification. So many times we jump in judgments that we think that we understand what the other person's saying. Why not ask a question 3 levels down just to make sure you really know? You know, many times it's not what you think. Everyone's got their own way of looking at things, and the more you question things, the more you'll understand. Number 16, let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. Now, sorry to say, but we as women, we're quite good at that. It's just kind of a natural thing, I think. It is quite good if you can let someone think that the idea is there. So many people want to be, they're more concerned about getting credit for something instead of moving things along the way they want to. Don't worry about credit. Just enjoy. Let someone else think it's their idea and be happy for them. Number 17, try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. This is so key. I mean, everything is perception. I do a lot of workshops in communications. I always start out with perception because it's really amazing that everything in our lives, what we see, it's all our perception of it. It's our reality or truth is our perception of it. And so that's why in order to be able to get in another person's moccasins, as we used to say in Michigan, the thing is to try and see something from someone else's point of view. Number 18, be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Yes, that's great. Don't start tearing them down or saying, why would you want that, or that's stupid, or that's crazy. No, be sympathetic to that. And in fact, look for a way of how you can help that person get what they want. Number 19, appeal to the nobler motives. This is very good. I think that there's probably a whole lot that could be said about that, but I think that the more we look for the good in everything and the good in other people and then appeal to the nobler side of people and things, the better life will be. So that's a great motto to have. Number 20, dramatize your ideas. You know, this is what makes people remember things. The more that you can get dramatic with things or draw pictures or have involvement of the people, the better it will be. And people will remember it. It'll keep them thinking. If there's nothing there, no emotion or nothing to tie things to, they'll forget about it. Number 21, last one is throw down a challenge. This is so great. I mean, yesterday when I talked to you about the 9 principles of how to become a friendlier person, I threw down a challenge and said to try for just 1 week not to criticize, condemn, or complain. That was a challenge. And to do things like that, just challenge people. In a nice, friendly way, of course, but throw down a challenge and then see what happens. So anyway, this is Susan Bagyura, Executive Leadership Coach, author of The Visionary Leader, finishing up with the ways to win people to your way of thinking, coming right out of Dale Carnegie's The Golden Book. I hope that there's been some good information in here for you, and please leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye.